Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for your patience as we ran into some technical difficulties, unforeseen circumstances. Ken is amazing for being able to still do this. So thank you for folks in the waiting room who are being so patient. My name is Katie Gracely. I am a staff member at SIFPAC. And welcome to our session today. Our amazing facilitator, the person who will be speaking, Ken Barber, will tell you a little bit more about himself and share some information for you. So welcome everyone. And again, thank you for joining Developing an Alternate Organic Farm and Ranch Network, featuring Ken Barber, Executive Director of Adelante Center, Garfield Produce. So welcome.
So thank you. I'll apologize again for just all the technical issues.
Hey Ken, your Wi-Fi
I
is
will
cutting out.
say the hydroponic of the programs are going to hydroponic farm on the computer now, so this should be much easier. Okay. As soon as I get into Zoom, then we should be in business here.
While we're waiting for folks in the room, I'd love for you to kind of put your names, organizations you're a part of, and where you're coming from. Neighborhood, if you're in Chicago, if you're coming from somewhere outside Chicago, would love to hear you.
Yes, me too. I would love to love to hear it too. Come on. Oh, there we are.
Progress.
How about now? How can you hear me?
Much better.
Oh, okay, great. So, I had an issue earlier today. I have a hydroponic farm today. We grow microgreens for sale into wholesale distribution. Just we harvest on Monday and Thursday every week. We seed on Tuesday and Friday. I had my manager out and then two drivers call off. So I had to actually jump in and do a delivery, which is what caused all of this delay. Our farm is in East Garfield Park, and the customer is in Bartlett. So I'm at the Bartlett Library, which is about 2 miles from our from our customer, Get Fresh Produce. But I'm really glad that I'm able to still do this because this is what I want to talk. This is a somewhat interactive. I'm gonna spend a little bit of time. I've got some slides, to show you. They give you some background on Adelante Center and our vision and our project. And then I want to talk about the grant that we received from the USDA last year. This year finally it got approved, and how that is going to help us set up a network, which I think will really impact small to mid-sized farms and ranches in the Chicagoland area. And that's not just in the city. I mean, peri-urban too, like on the outskirts, like Rockford and Harvard and places like that. So if it's okay, I think I have the ability to share, and I will start with that. Oh, it says sharing is not turned on. Can you give it one more shot?
Let me give you the power. Let me try.
Okay. While she's working on that, the grant that we got, they spotlighted your video. Okay,
You
great.
should be good now.
I think I should be good. Okay. Let me see if you're able to see. One more time.
And Ken, we have some questions in the chat. Do you want to save those towards the end?
Yes, I'm still trying to see what in Zoom here. I use Zoom all the time, but I'm sharing and it's just giving me like applications and documents. I can't see any of my documents unless this is going to do something for me. No. Why can't I see my documents in Zoom?
Do you have it open anywhere?
Have the document, yeah, I have
Hmm.
it. It's open.
Hmm.
Let me see. Select the window or application that you want to share. Maybe I'll just do PowerPoint.
Also at the top, if you see a button that says screens, so when you're looking at the share section, there's advanced document and screens.
Screens, yes.
That may give you what you need.
You guys will have to tell me when you start seeing a PowerPoint too, and maybe that'll help move us along. Boy, I can't mess this up anymore today, can
You know what?
I?
Things happen. I think that is a
Okay.
learning,
How about now?
everybody goes through it. I see your screen.
Okay, great.
Amazing.
Yeah, nothing is easy. All right, so um, a little bit about Adelante Center. We so who we are. Our mission is to create wealth in distressed communities through entrepreneurship, living wage job creation, and community development. Our goal is to the main goal for us was always to help people raise themselves out of poverty through entrepreneurship, through business creation and job creation, subsequently job creation. So again, real high level and very quickly, we're located. Our office is in Waukegan in Lake County. We primarily work in North Chicago, Waukegan, Zion, and more recently on the west side of Chicago and East Garfield Park through the acquisition a year ago of Garfield Produce. And this next slide will explain what we're trying to achieve. This actually came out of COVID. We started out saying, "Oh, we love," and some of you will know the projects that we tried to model ourselves after. We took a visit in early 2019 to Farm on Ogden, and then another one to 111 Food Hall in Pullman. So we're Farm on Ogden. If you're not familiar, it's an aquaponics farm, year-round produce, herbs, things like that. And 111 Food Hall, I'm not even sure if it's still operating, but a food hall concept is under one roof, multiple nutritious and various different varieties of businesses can operate. And I love that. That's how we went into COVID. Everything we learned from COVID resulted in these 8 other hubs that are on the hub and spoke. And a lot of it came from trying to see where the most persistent failure points were in the food system, and how could we better address them. And one of the things that I and my strategy team kind of came up with was, well, it's the handoffs. It's that uh, the farmer deals with the food bank. The food bank deals with the pantry. The pantry deals with the patron or the consumer. Same as with the grocery market. Same as with cafes. How do we so the answer, the question is, how do we get quality and nutritious food to those who need it most, either for free through a pantry or through better quality food through a grocery marketplace. And then a big piece of it also that we learned was it isn't just about food access. It's as much about education as it is about access. Meaning, what we still see all the time is if we if in our pantry boxes every week, if we put a beautiful bundle of kale or heirloom tomatoes and squat and butternut squash, not everybody knows what to do with that. That's one. And then two, not everybody has the equipment in their kitchen to do anything with that. I mean, and then there's all the anxiety around prep, food prep and recipes and all those other things. So we knew that we need to solve several problems. We need to have access through like the market, through like say the grocery market. We need to provide a pantry that we could control where we could bundle products together that would fit the nutrition target that we're trying to espouse. And then we needed an education component in addition to some form of like shared kitchen where we could do show and tell. A lot of this came out of kind of Zoom sessions during COVID with the New Orleans Tulane University's culinary school, the Gold Ring Institute. And I don't know how I stumbled upon them during COVID, but their students were like kind of just doing show and tell over Zoom on here's the ingredients. Here's a bundle of all the food was in a box if you lived in New Orleans, or you had a grocery shopping list. And then here's how you make it. And we're just going to do it together. And they had events and things like, grandparents cook with their kids and things like that. So I thought all of that was great. So what came out, and then we also need to provide just be honest with ourselves. Some people don't want to cook at all. So they want to get prepared foods. And in the most distressed communities where we are in North Chicago, which hasn't had a grocery store in 23 years, in East Garfield Park, which has access to groceries, but not super convenient for certain people. I mean, the problem isn't just access, it's education. And then it's, like I said, you may not have things in your kitchen that will allow you to make a nutritious and healthy meal. But so if we have a cafe, then we can provide those things. I'll give you an example for our farm, in our farm to school program, we do a STEM camp every July. And the first question I ask the kids on the first day is, and I said there's going to be a test. What'd you have for dinner last night? And you'd be surprised what the answers are. I mean, maybe you wouldn't, but I mean, it's very, very shocking. So what I also tell them is, I'm not here to give you what you want, because if I ask you what you want, you'll never try anything new. These are all middle school kids, 6th through 8th grade. I say, I'm going to introduce you to a lot of things. And, if you eat them, that's fine. If not, that's not. So most kids have never had pita and hummus. Most kids have never had falafel. They've never had a chicken Caesar salad wrap or things like that. And then the question for them at the end of the camp is, where do I get this? And guess what? We don't have many places in these communities. So that's where we create our cafe. So all of these various different projects. And so I'll run through these very quickly because I do want to get to why we're here. And this is still a background. So Garfield Produce, this is this is our farm where I'm running from right now. Six levels per channel, 3 channels. We do about 250 pounds of produce a week. all microgreens and all sold wholesale into for distributors. I noticed that Midwest Foods was on your speaker list. I literally just left Midwest Foods an hour ago doing a delivery. So Midwest, Testa, Get Fresh, and Anthony Morano, and soon to be expanding into Madison, Wisconsin, Milwaukee, and Indianapolis. So anyway, that's our farm. All right, I mentioned farm to school education. We work closely with the school districts. We do have a farm that we support, an aquaponics farm. This is actually a picture of the greenhouse at the school. So very very good to start. Easier to convince kids in middle school than in high school. Um, our pantry, I'll talk about later, but we just kind of moved into this new former KFC location that you see kind of in the bottom center. Very excited about that. It's a drive-through. We also got a grant to buy these temperature controlled food lockers, which again gives another option to people who can't necessarily make the 2 hour or 3 hour window that a food pantry may have once a week. These are again things we learned from COVID. What if you don't have transportation? So electric vehicle chargers, we have 2 electric vehicle chargers at this site, another one at Garfield, and we purchased three electric vehicles and 2 kind of delivery vans. That will be relevant. Hold that thought again as well. All right, and so then our grocery marketplace, we hope to expand into this because we know that a pantry can't provide everything. There does need to be sort of low cost, balanced and consistent food for purchase. And then aside from that, there's a dignity in buying your own food. And the pantry serves a very useful purpose, but having access through this grocery marketplace, because we're at space limited at the moment, we're exploring these mutual aid and community food club models. These 2 are in Michigan, mostly because our consultant, New Venture Advisors, is out of Grand Rapids, or not, they're out of Chicago, but our contact is out of Grand Rapids, and she's very familiar with that. But I like the model though. And then there's our cafe that's soon to open here in downtown Waukegan. It's a test kitchen, which is sort of a miniature food hall. Again, we're starting all those 8 programs on small scale until we build a bigger site, a bigger project. So what we also want to do is take the best of the city and bring it out to Lake County. So we have a really good coffee vendor, Conscious Cup, Flower Bakery in Edgewater. Gertie's Popcorn is a gourmet popcorn purveyor. And then New York Bagels and Bialys out of Skokie and Lincolnwood. Yeah, we get our bagels through them. So we're bringing a lot of brands under one roof. This is this is where we want to go, which is bringing all 8 of those things under one roof. This is a $28 million planned project, still trying to find a site for it and raise capital. But this will also help us to expand our farm from just microgreens into pollinator crops, things like peppers and herbs. And then also we are talking with a group about doing hydroponic strawberries, which I'm also excited about. So everything's hydroponic though, it's not. And then we also on the other side of the building, during the warm weather months, we'll have a farm / garden, community garden as well. The reason why I like hydroponics, I'm not against urban ag has gotten in community gardens. When people think of that, they think, oh wow, this is a great way to get food into the community, and that's awesome from April to October. But people need to eat in January, and that's where it got to be my whole sort of passion of we have to make this year round because there has to be this consistency. All right. Now, to the problem and then to the grant. I know I'm at 4, so Katie, tell me how much time. If I have 10 more minutes, people can stick it out with me. That's all I need. Is that okay?
Yeah, you have about 10 more minutes and then we'll leave some time for questions and discussion.
Okay, great. Because I do have an ask of everyone who's kind of listening. So this is the way I see the food system as it relates to farming and ranching. On the left side, this is how food and produce in particular, let's stick with produce, gets to your grocery store. There's a large farm or ranch, normally subsidized by the federal government. Same as meat and poultry processors. All of that goes to gets harvested, is to a regional distributor, a grocery distributor, and then to your store at Whole Foods, Kroger, or Safeway. That's great. And so you've got giant farms in Salinas, California, doing lettuce and blueberries from someplace else. And that's how they're able, with the subsidies and their volume, to be able to offer you apples, 3 pounds of apples for $2 at Aldi. And you love that because consumers like low cost food. The food is too expensive, what people say. But the person on the team on the right side, the small to mid-sized farmers, the ones here that are trying to, trying to kind of make a living, and what we're trying to encourage people to do, they're kind of X'd out of that process on the left because they don't, for the reasons I've listed here on the left side. They don't have the ability to access these markets. A lot of times they're 3 acre, 5 acre, maybe even 10 acre, but they're way out in Harvard or Rockford or some of these peri-urban areas, and transportation is a challenge because the land is there, but getting to where the people are is a challenge. Um, Again, I mentioned the government subsidies, limited access to premium customers. Now, why do I say premium customers? Because I have kind of three sources that these small and mid-sized farmers will use. I mean, they could create a co-op, farm, roadside stands, things like that. Direct to consumer has had limited success. Farmers market is the most common. And then, if you can create, relationships with a few local restaurants or kind of grocery markets that aren't a chain, then you can survive. And most of these are small families just trying to make it. Again, farmers markets, great, April through October, but the farmer has to they got to make a living year round. And let's just be honest, if any of us here have been to a farmer's market, you have to ask yourself, well, who is my customer? Who am I going after? Is my customer the low income distressed community? Even if you take SNAP, your SNAP dollars don't go too far if a pint of blueberries is $7. So you're going to lose, or we're going to lose to the subsidized large farmers, and the Safeways and Krogers and Aldis of the world, on the low side. On the high side, the people who do go to farmers markets are the people who there's a different reason they want this food. They want to support something local. They want something very unique. They're willing to pay extra, and they have the means to pay extra. Those consumers do exist here in Chicago. And what they seek is something that's better quality and more unique. And they're more price inelastic, or price elastic than the lower end of the spectrum. Meaning, if you can give me a really high quality turkey that that is better than what I'm going to get frozen at Jewel or Whole Foods, I will pay $100 for it. This is what they say. I mean, or if you can get me unique sort of meats or even certain vegetables that are just of the best quality, then yes, I'll pay a premium for that. And oh, by the way, if you also promise to deliver it to me at my door, then I'll do that too. So back here we get to our grant. So what our proposal is to create this alternate distribution network, which will allow these very small to mid-sized farmers that are producing high quality premium products to have a window or a door into that premium community. Now we got to build it. We got to build a market, and we do it with the best providers, not and what we propose is that we're going to take away some of these barriers that I mentioned before. One, all our food pantry and our grocery market are all online order and deliver. And then when I say deliver, we have the electric vehicles. We also have the lockers, but online ordering is just the future. Every one of the largest players that I just showed you there, Kroger, Safeway, they're going to these small sort of dark warehouses where they're just fulfilling orders, even if they're more limited in the number of SKUs that they offer. So that's where we're going with that. Now, how do we eliminate that barrier of transportation? One, the transportation, once it gets aggregated to the consumer, is one thing, but getting it from your farm to us to get to the consumer, that's another thing. And that's where the grant comes in. So through this grant, we were able to get, I mean, this grant is it's an organic market development grant. And forgive me, I didn't have time to do the last slide, which described it, but it's a 3-year, $1.4 million grant. And our proposal was that we would create this network. And not just that, but that we would help these small to mid-sized farms gain and ranches gain organic market certification. So that's what we've embarked on, and this is sort of a description of how it would work. Again, what was included? This was one of these very rare grants that allowed for capital purchases. So we had written into the grant about $150,000 for vehicle purchases. That has afforded us so far three commercial vans, two refrigerated. No, one refrigerated. I already had one refrigerated van, so I have 4 vans now. That's me picking up the stuff, picking up the products from the farm, and then 2 electric vehicles for local delivery. And so we just bought one over the weekend, and we'll probably buy another one before the end of this week. And so that kind of spends my money. The best part about electric vehicles is they're cheap now, and so I was able to get sort of 2 for 1 with vans and with vehicles. So my whole thing is to remove the barriers of logistics, not just from us to the farm, but then to the consumer, and allow and a more transparent premium market that isn't controlled by the large grocery stores. And part of my reason, and I'll shut up after this, part of the reason why there are food deserts is because the business case doesn't exist that in low income communities for an Aldi or a Whole Foods or even a Jewel. And so somebody decides there's no economic case for this. We're just not going to do it. And how we overcome that, there have to be creative solutions, and I think this is one of them. So I again apologize for my tardiness, but the ask that I have is we need people in the network. We need the farmers. We need the producers. And so I am on a sort of a mission to go start recruiting quality small to mid-sized producers. And that's my ask. And so if while before you leave, if you're interested or willing to do this, I do have a form, that I'm going to put together. But if we can, if you're interested in finding out more, give me your name and email, and I will keep you kind of on the list as we build this. And then the last thing I'll say definitely before I shut up is, what do you think of this? I mean, am I on the right track, or are there things I could do better? Am I off base in my assumptions?
Ken, this was so great. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to all of us, especially with everything you had going on today. I would love to open it up to everybody on here, especially with some of your questions and your asks. So everyone feel free to mute. If you want to come on video, you can. But we have about 9 minutes that we can ask some questions, and definitely share your contact information in the chat if you're interested in learning more about how to be a part of this network. I'm also going to put a link to a survey in here. We're always trying to kind of improve our systems and want to hear how you thought the session went. So, Eliana, let's see, there were some questions in the chat. So I'm just going to start from the top of the questions that were coming in. I know Carmen asked, what are the varieties that you're growing? And did you build your system or did you purchase a freight farm? That was Carmen. So Carmen, feel free to unmute yourself too if you wanted to add.
Yeah, so the answer to that is that we sell four varieties. We sell our best seller is a rainbow mix, which is a mix of sort of two broccolis, kale, um, let's see, mustard, and I always forget the one. But it's four different micro five different varieties, four different microgreens, and that's our best, most colorful mix. And then we do micro arugula, micro cilantro, and bull's blood beet. And they again these these are I was explaining to the driver, he's like, oh, he goes, well, you should get these into the grocery store. I'm like, no, that people don't really appreciate or understand microgreens in grocery stores, and that's why Aero Farms is having some challenges. Our biggest competitor is Fresh Origins out of San Diego, and that's who our customers buy from. They either buy from us or Fresh Origins. And our end customer, is chefs and hotels and very high-end restaurants. That's where this ends up. How things get to that, where we're always sort of finding our microgreens at various different restaurants around town. Uh, Pat, Pat Rosie's, it's like a Mexican place. They've got a couple locations. One of them is in Schaumburg. My manager was there. He ordered a appetizer dish, and when he sent me the picture, I go, "Those aren't ours." I could tell, and they weren't. They were Fresh Origins, but they bought them from Get Fresh, our customers. So we're the two customers. We're both in hydroponics. And then the second part of that was, did you build it or did you buy it? Well, I bought the company a year ago. I had built one in Lake County, where we did, so I knew how to do that. But even after we acquired Garfield, we expanded into a third line, which we built with. I mean, Garfield was founded in 2014, so the lines that they had, there's better technology now. So we put a third line in this January, and we built all that from scratch too. Yeah, and so you also mentioned freight farms, which just this month, a partner has asked us to help them set up a freight farm, which actually is just a curiosity to all of my guys, because we can't even imagine that. That's so small. But we're gonna help, and we're looking forward to it. The technology and the process should be about the same.
I got one more question though. And in terms of price point, I'm familiar with Garfield because I do a lot at the conservatory. But in terms of being able to get these nutrient value situations to the community, which pretty much does have a lot of pockets in it where there are food deserts, um, price point, is it affordable for the individuals or is it something that you are just marketing towards those high end buyers?
Yeah, so my our wholesale prices range for a 8 ounce container somewhere between 15.50 to $18. I just raised prices in May. So if you just do the math, that's an 8 ounce container. I mean, there's very few people are going to pay $35 a pound for any type of produce. So unfortunately, microgreens, because the part of why we are viable, successful, not I hate to use that term because we could be out of business in a minute. But why we're sustainable, I think, is because we know who is using our product, and again, they are price elastic. A chef does not he wants a look. He doesn't necessarily shop for the lowest price. So in terms of like the education piece, like tomorrow, we had from our harvest today, we had some extra. So we'll create and we've done this every week. We'll create about 100 2 ounce containers, and when we do our pantry distribution on uh, Wednesday, we'll include our microgreens in the pantry distribution. And that's how we sort of educate our pantry consumers in the low income community because they start liking it. They're just like, oh, I like this. And then we tell them how to use it. It's like, hey, put this in between on your bagel or with some cream cheese and a tomato, and it's pretty good. And that's how we do it. But that's a slow process, you know.
Just want to pull out a few more questions from the chat. We have about 3 minutes. Sorry for the hard stop at 4:20, but Eliana asked what the service radius for the alternative distribution network is, which also she was wondering if it's in Waukegan and if you've partnered with any colleges of Lake County.
I teach entrepreneurship and small business management at College of Lake County. So, and we're part of, they've got a project that they're trying to build a teaching farm as well. So we're very well connected with all the various different colleges. Finding finding talent in this space is very hard for us. Um, we are at the point now where we're going to start going outside of Illinois, sadly, to go sort of recruit interns this summer who have some familiarity or knowledge with hydroponics. Every other guy that we have working for us, everyone who works for us also came through the justice system. I mean, they're all second chance individuals, and they're experts in what they do. They know it. They know this back and front. But we kind of need some experts in hydroponics too. So this is more of self-taught over time, and we're growing a lot more now. The radius that you talked about, I would love for us to go as far. We don't know yet. I mean, we would go 40, 50 miles, maybe even more, maybe up to 100. I mean, we're going to be picking up from Milwaukee and Madison, Wisconsin. So I guess, depends on the frequency. The great thing about electric vehicles is they actually have some pretty good range. And so and we get a full charge every day. So depends. Tell me how far you are and we'll come see you.
I love that. Well, in line, I'll pose our last question from Glenda. Does your grant opportunity cross over into Northwest Indiana?
Actually, it does. I had a really wonderful conversation with the director of the Indiana Department of Agriculture, marketing director. She found us by searching for this grant, and and I think that we're gonna be able to find a way to make that happen. There's really no restrictions on us. We just need to build a network. That's what they said. But I need you guys, I need you to, I mean, and my information, I'll put my information in here too. That'll be the last thing. And Katie, I mean, not that I deserve to ask for anything else, but is there a way to capture the chat so that,
Yes. Yeah, let me see. I'm copying a few of these emails as well, but before I end this, I'll also save the chat. I'm gonna do that right now. Saved, we have it. So if anyone else wants to pop their contact information in here, please do so. Really appreciate you, all of you. Ken, this was amazing, especially in the short period of time you had. I feel like I learned so much. So thank you so much for doing this, and thank you for everyone who hopped on, stayed on, for your
Yeah,
thoughtful
thanks so much.
questions.
I'm so sorry that I dragged it out for you, but I appreciate you coming and hopefully you'll hear more about this